January 31st, 2026, 4:05 p.m. This is Brooke Ellefson at 2028 Lonnie Ln, living next door to Julianne Bice, and I'm having another court date, January 9th, 9 a.m. And this is Cort Ellefson lives with the court, and he's a United States Marine. Judge Lorianne Matthias has the same middle name as Julianne Bice at 2030, whom was Camille Vecchiarelli accused this case out of bias to Lorianne Matthias. Here's the bias, and including with computer hackers and people like Garbage Frame put their trash in the neighbor's garbage cans. Jeremy Silva today is driving around with an American flag on the back of his truck. He hates this country, and he's doomed to burn out in front of his house. False flag operation in his neighborhood. The Brookings Institution, often stylized as Brookings, is an American think tank in Washington, D.C. This is international Zionism. Brooke Renee Ellefson's Nevada voter registration, Dayton, Nevada, lives with the court. I got court date there. This is very corrupt, but I'd say Lorianne Matthias was conspiring on Camille Vecchiarelli, so Camille Vecchiarelli does not want to play the stupid game, is just going to let me just say what's going on and just how me just sacrificed on a Class C felony that's been trumped up, false evidence planted, you name it. These United States Marine Corps hackers across the street at 2028 remoting the neighbors' computers along with Jeremy Silva. Computer Corps USA has a flag. Did he remote anything into his computer there? Computer Corps. Jeremy Silva, 2027, Lonnie Ln. Brooke Renee Ellefson's Nevada voter registration, Dayton, Nevada. Brooke Renee Ellefson, age 26, is listed at 2028 Lonnie Ln, Dayton, Nevada, 89403, and is affiliated with the nonpartisan party. Brooke is registered to vote in Lyon County, Nevada. Property record details for the current residents of Cort Ellefson. Jeremy Silva also framed Joshua Swanick, and probably Joshua Cox, and Cort Ellefson might have just did the same to the people at 2029 Lonnie Ln, Serena, and Alberto Banda, and 2030 doing the same thing. Just putting their own garbage in somebody else's garbage cans, getting inside their houses, backdooring the computers. Lorianne Matthias and Julianne Matthias are colluding through a third party, taking advantage of surveillance that's been put on me. Dayton, Nevada, 894. Cort Ellefson, 38 years old, United States Marine. He fought over in Iraq, maybe. Born in October 1987. Cardinal Louis Sacco of Baghdad is going to be elected Pope after Robert Francis Prevost of Chicago retires as Pope Leo XIV by 2028. Cort Ellefson, this is a framing. The courts have been hijacked by subversives or papists. They're fleecing America, where he's resided since June 2024. Court's phone number is 775-600-5601, a mobile number through Verizon Wireless. Court's prior residences include Carson City, Minden, Valley Center, Escondido, California. J.D. Vance is the United States Marines that stood next to Pope Francis on the last day of Pope Francis' life. That is a murder conspiracy. Plus 3 other locations. Court's previous reported phone number includes 719-683-5919, a landline number through the El Paso County Telephone Company, which was last active as of August 2012. Court has email addresses including ellefsoncourt@yahoo.com and rallo.elpasotel.net, plus 2 others. Overview. The name Brock, as in Brock Law Ltd., has dual origins. This is a public defender that has not been speaking the truth on my behalf to the judge. Has been working with Stephen Burns Rye. And Judge Lorianne Matthias, this is biased. Judge Lorianne Matthias has the same middle name, and they all just want to say their common names. No, when there is. It's called bias, according to Judge Camille Vecchiarelli. Looks like Judge Lorianne Matthias conspired on, and I'm supposed to be the Judas goat sacrifice in this scenario. Often a nickname for someone tenacious or a variant of Brooke, as in Brooke Ellefson at 2028 Lonnie Ln, living next door. There's been some computer hacking going on and framing, and they just want to put a charge on me because I cannot afford an IP lawyer to prove that this is what has happened. and it has, meaning a small stream given to those living near water. It also functions as surname with variants like Brook, Brooks, Brook, and a popular first name carrying connotations of strength and resilience, and even as Dutch Flemish roots related to water meadows, or as a short form of Brockert. Badger, your in the behind the scenes badger, just embellishing, being told what to leave because he's court appointed. He will not do a full truthful examination and speak the truth to the judge. Brock law is biased towards me. So is Lonnie Ln, has the same middle name as Julianne Bice, and they won't put this on the court reports that here it is, Julianne Bice. They leave off the name Ann on purpose. Dutch Flemish can mean water meadow broc. Be short Brockert. Germanic can mean a lump. You're transgender. Mullerian tube. I can look this up right now. This person, Brooke, walks around like they're stuck up. They do not like many people. They feign relationships, friendships of people so they can get the blackmail dirt on them. Remoting their computers. Trust Brookings Institution from 1922 on, at least until 1929. Founder or very early director of the Council of Foreign Relations, CFR, from at least 1922, together with the Morgan and Rockefeller interests, the Warburg Schiff connection to the Bolsheviks. Brook, Brock, law, extended subversives in the court systems, Germany, including with corrupt neighbors, the United States Marine Corps is Jesuit, is papist, and is backstabbing American neighbors. When Lenin's Bolshevik ally Leon Trotsky arrived in New York City, January 1917, a certain Arthur Conkers, the superintendent and director of the Hebrew Sheltering and Immigrant Aid Society, waited for him on the pier as Trotsky spoke to English Conkers, did for talking to him, promoting him to the New York Times and New York Herald Tribune as a persecuted peace advocate who during this World War I years had been booted out of SARS, Russia, France, and Spain for being a follower of Karl Marx and for making the case that Russia should withdraw from World War I, which was fighting on the side of Great Britain, France, and Italy. Earlier, at the start of the war, Trotsky had also been booted out of the Kaiser's Germany for being a Marxist journalist. Lenin Trotsky's support by German Kaiser and Jewish bankers at Schiff, Warburg, Rothschild. The Union General, meanwhile, nationalist and reactionary parties in France desired to counterbalance the Semitic influence of the Rothschilds by establishing a banking concern which should be essentially Catholic. Accordingly, in 1876, the Union General was founded with a capital of 4 million francs, increased to 25 million in 1878 under the direction of certain Bonteau. After various vicissitudes graphically described by Zola in his novel L'Argent, the Union failed and brought many of the Catholic nobility of France to ruin, leaving the Rothschilds still more absolutely the undisputed leaders of French finance, but leaving also a legacy of hatred which had much influence on the growth of the anti-Semitic movement in France. Something analogous occurred in England when the century-long competition of the Barings and the Rothschilds culminated in the failure of the former in 1893. But in this case, the Rothschilds came to the rescue of their rivals and prevented a universal financial catastrophe. It is somewhat curious sequel to the attempt to set up a Catholic competitor to the Rothschilds that at the present time the latter are the guardians of the papal treasure. Of the recent years, the Rothschilds have consistently refused to have anything to do with the loans to Russia owing to the anti-Jewish legislation of that empire, though on one occasion the members of the Paris House joined and alone to demonstrate their patriotism as Frenchmen. Rothschild's Jewish Encyclopedia. This Cort Ellefson is very stuck-up person. They would turn and burn on their family. They would poison everyone in the household, including their kids. If you want to put a charge on me and say I'm something I'm not, that's you, Brooke. And Cort and Jeremy Silva would point. If you want to say I'm crazy, you would roll on your own family. Yes, you would. After betraying a family man across the street, Joshua Swannick, if you thought the police were coming after you, you would commit the suicide, and you want me charged with a Class C felony. You're clowns. This is it does not make them evil. It's their intent inflicting a false gender over someone, guilting them while planting, oh God, this person's home all day, but then leaves like an hour before court comes home. I'm not sure if they even really live together. At 2028 Lonnie Ln, and here's Cale Brock. Brook and Brock have the same etymology. Cale Brock's involved in framing his clients, including, you need to repent. You did not tell me that a Class C felony was 1 to 5 years. He never told me this. And he wanted to do a 15-day quick on me and Judge Lonnie Ln and told more time. Take more time. This was October 28th. And now they cooked up a second case against me after Camille Vecchiarelli accused out of bias, and they still haven't shown since December 16th. Show me what this second case is. They have framed evidence ahead of time, planted on. If you keep it in your possession, you're guilty. If you get rid of it, you're guilty. Bunch of comic books, 400 comic books, autographed. Dude, I don't want to take you. These people were breaking in my house for years. And where I live, bedroom, I've been made homeless twice off of 2 restraining orders. Been in jail twice. My room's been modified. Was detained by a Roman Polak. This is Roman Vatican conspiracy. Pope Leo XIV is going to retire by 2028, where Cort Ellefson lives. And they want me in jail for the rest of my life. Dead like Troy Driver, reported as a suicide self-strangle when no. He was murdered by a trustee inmate, another inmate, and a sheriff deputy looked away, covered up, because he murdered somebody that was the daughter of a diplomat to Ukraine, Naomi Irion, to cover up to a connection to Ukrainian war. Do a control F in this email, Molarian. That is a stuck-up person that has tendencies to frame people and lie, remote into their computers during the daytime, and leave an hour every day before court comes home. Malarian duct development, fertility problems. I wonder how many children have autism, because their parents are selfish. Deadbeats. They're fronting them while remoting into neighbors' computers. That is child endangerment. Local University Hospital Ethics Committee approved this study, and all patients gave their informed consent through the H. Horages France Association. All DESNs who identify as transgender women, Brook Ellefson, that does not make you special. Your intent to force this facade on everyone while you're conspiring on your neighbors. That's what makes you evil, messed up. Otherwise, a transgender person could be totally benign and not have harmful intent. Underwent karyotyping, they're having children, they're having babies. Thomas Trace Betty is an advocate of transgender rights and sexuality issues with a focus on transgender fertility and reproductive rights. Betty came out as a trans man early 1997. Beatitudes had a gender affirming surgery in March 2002 and became known as the pregnant man. Brook Ellefson, Brock Ellefson is your real. That if you want to just be an esoteric prick to people instead of repenting, leaving your neighbors alone, along with Jeremy Silva needs to stop with his intimidation, doing peel outs in front of his house now. And Cort Ellefson's got a camera in front of his house, and he does the same thing at 2028, turns off his camera and goes and mess with the neighbor's trash can. At 2029, when remoting into each other's computers, that is a thing around here. Became pregnant with donated sperm as a man because his wife Nancy was sterile. Pregnant and he had a baby there, and you just mock yourself to be a clown, and you're falsifying honor. You're a pious mocker, hypocrite, hawker, deadly. You need to repent. Brook Ellefson on Facebook. Son's got son under there, they're transgender. Brook Ellefson. Brook Ellefson 7. How many of them are on Facebook? Dayton, Nevada. Go to Cort Anders. 36. Facebook. Cort Anders, I forget it. People are just totally betraying every neighbor around them. Cort Ellefson, military, LinkedIn. United States Marines, Minden. The United States Marine Corps, computer hacker. just framing people, and he gets to hide behind children while implying to another neighbor, no, that's you. You need to repent from framing people because you would poison your children. If push comes to shove, if you had a Class C felony put on you, you would just obey and you would do it. No, I'm not the one that's violent that wants anyone. I typed a stupid threat that had no intent of making good on there. Lonnie Ln. It's these people. You're going to give me this kind of surveillance, you should put the same surveillance on Cort Anders, Julianne Bice, and Jeremy Silva. Forget about Joshua Swanick at 2026. It's Jeremy Silva that is doing this in neighbors law. Cort Ellefson, United States Marine Corps backstabber. J.G. Vance was United States Marine Corps Vice President, stood next to Pope Francis on the last day of life, April 21st, 2025. That is Project 2025, destroying America. Donald John Trump, repent. Stop colluding with Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton, because that's what he has been doing as President of the United States.